There was one thing though, when Ethan and Tino went head to head, and then I guess Ethan died at the end, and he was like laying on the ground, and then she kind of ignored him and like straight went to Tino and like made out with him while Ethan here, my buddy Ethan, was dying on the ground, and she then went over to him. I'm like, this man is really just about to die from.
She said, "I only have eyes for that
Yeah.
is my future man's."
She
Yeah,
left him in the dust.
yeah. Hello, welcome back to Brianna's Bachelor Breakdown. I'm Brianna, your Bachelorette relationship analyst. If you love getting into the nitty gritty of the drama and unpacking all the relationships, this channel is for you. And today we're talking about episode 6 of Gabby and Rachel's season. So as you can see, I have a very special guest with me today. This is one of my very best friends from college, Tiffany. We met obviously in college. We were joining the same sorority at the same time. So we are line sisters, is what it's called. We joined Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and we've been friends ever since. Tiffany, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Tiffany, and as Brianna said, we did meet in college, and that was around 7 years ago at this point. I am currently a third-year medical student at Kansas City, and I am currently on rotations in Indiana right now, so just a few hours away from home.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So we open up with both of the ladies talking about who they want to take on their one-on-one for the week. Gabby decides to take Nate. We don't really see any part of their date. We go ahead, they meet up, and then we fast forward, and they're sitting on a bench, they're crying. Gabby essentially decides to cut things off because she feels like she's not ready to be a mother to Nate's daughter at this point in time. So Tiffany, what were your thoughts on her decision and how they handled this breakup interaction?
Yeah, so I watched this episode while on the stairs, the Stairmaster at the gym, and I had to rewind the episode because I thought I missed their entire date and find out that I didn't miss anything. They just cut the entire date out. And I saw Gabby crying, and I'm like, did I miss something? Because I was a little confused. And to be honest, I was a big fan of Nate at the very beginning, and I feel like you know when if you're ready to be a mother pretty early on. It's not some snap decision you make within a week. So I didn't agree with Gabby in that sense, where she just felt like she wasn't ready to be a mother yet. And that kind of, I don't know, that threw me off a little bit about her.
So you felt like she actually knew earlier on and she just
Yes.
waited too long to tell you.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. I kind of had, I want to say the opposite reaction, but I feel like I felt like I could see her thought process. Like I feel like had they been dating in the real world, she would have been able to make the decision quicker because you're only dealing with that one person. But I felt like she was probably getting to know Nate, getting to know all her other guys, that she wasn't always focusing like, okay, what are my thoughts on Nate and his daughter and like being a mother? You know what I mean? And I feel like also part of her, I feel like she wanted to want it. You know, like I feel like she has so much like stuff that's happened with her and her mom. And I feel like that is
Yeah.
probably what held her back. But I feel like she wanted to be ready. And she had to like be honest with herself of like, okay, I'm actually not ready. I can't just like pretend.
Yeah. I see it as, I agree with what, I know where you're coming from in that sense, but I feel like that the Bachelor slash Bachelorette is only an 8 to 12 week process. So he mentioned early on, hey, I have a child. And if I was the Bachelorette, I would think, am I ready? Say he ends up at the end. In 12 weeks, will I be ready to be a mother? Because that is a big stepping stone. You're automatically in that role if he does propose to you and you become his fiance, like you will automatically step into that role. So granted, she wanted to want it, which I could see too, because she was that breakup broke me a little bit. I was on the Stairmaster about to cry, but I'm like, you know what? Can't do that. But I just feel like, I don't know, 3 months. I personally, right now in my life, no, I couldn't be a mother in 3 months. Whether
Yeah.
the guy was amazing or not, that is a huge part of that person's life. So, but I do agree. I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. 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 Side note about what you said about almost crying. You know, I'm so emotionless. When they were having
Yeah.
this like 2 minute crying breakup, I was
He was
like,
gasping for air. Like
let's pat
that
this up.
cry where you like, like while she was gasping for air, I was like, oh my God, she might have a panic attack right now.
I was
I
like,
was
let's speed this
scared.
along.
Yeah.
It was sweet. And like, what I really appreciated about the breakup is that you could tell they both had really strong feelings for each other,
Yeah.
but that they were mature and they were like, we know this is the right decision. If Gabby's not ready,
Yeah.
we can't like force it or change anything. So I'm glad they
Yeah.
like felt their emotions, but also like didn't try to like make something that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. I agree. At the end of the day, I'm glad that they came to that conclusion because, like I said, being a mother or a mother in law or whatever you want to call it, it's a big deal. And, you can't just date that person and not date their daughter, also, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So then we had our one-on-one with Rachel and Zach. We
Mm-hmm.
actually go to the tulip field.
Mm-hmm.
We ride some bikes. We stop at some random stands to get some clogs and lemonade and stuff.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on just the day portion of their date?
I like Zach. I like that he is very real about, his emotions and there is that connection emotionally and physically. So, and to be honest, I was sad for Ethan because he didn't get that. He was the only one that hasn't done a one-on-one yet. And I knew in my head, I was like, okay, he's out because
Yeah,
there's no way you're gonna bring someone to the hometowns without having a one-on-one.
that's not true.
Has that happened in the past?
That's
Wait.
happening right. We'll talk about it later, but that's
Okay.
Tyler.
Oh yeah, yeah. But no, like in past seasons, has that happened?
Yeah. No, I don't think it's happened.
Which I don't think it has.
Yeah.
Like now I'm thinking about it. But yeah, so I felt bad for Ethan, but I like her and Tyler together. So
Her and Zach.
her and Zach together.
Yeah, no, they're really cute. I
Yeah.
feel like they got along well. I feel like it says a lot about a couple when they have a date. Like this date was pretty aimless, like they were just walking around, like there was no goal to achieve.
Yeah.
And I feel like it says a lot when you can have fun without a structured activity. Like, of course, you can have fun if you're like zip lining or helicoptering or like doing something like where there's a goal, but like to just be able to be like, oh, we're taking pictures and we're walking around and like still have fun, like that shows that you actually get along.
I agree. I just want to see this in the US kind of thing because they're in Amsterdam, which is like, oh, we've never been here before. So it is a new environment for them.
Yeah.
So it's still like, even though there's no goal in mind, like you said, like going zip lining or doing something, I just feel like it's still a new experience. And that's not like when you meet someone, you're not going to go abroad on your first date kind of thing. So I would want to see, that's why I'm excited for hometowns to see them in their natural environments.
Yeah, because I feel like that is really the downfall of a lot of bachelor couples because they spend their whole dating experience zipping around the world and then they come home and they're like,
I'm bored.
Actually know each other.
Yeah.
So then we go to dinner, we pull up to an art museum, and Zach opens up about his weight loss journey, his self-love journey, shares that therapy was a big part of both of those journeys. And he's also the first person to tell Rachel that he is falling in love with her. So what were your thoughts on this whole evening portion?
Is this the one with her in a big ass dress? Like,
yes, really the red. Well, she wore puffy sleeves both this night and the next night. This night with the red puffy sleeves.
I'm wondering, I was like, did she wear that a lot? So I'm not a fan of the puff. Like I feel like Gabby's outfits are on point.
She always serves. Yeah.
Like even with when her and Gabby met up in the beginning to talk about the guys and everything, like Gabby's just on point. I feel like they're doing Rachel. I don't know if they have the same budget or who's styling them, but it's
Rachel's stylist must be out to get her. Like
and I was on Twitter. I was on Twitter that night and they were roasting Rachel. But no, I like the therapy talk. I feel like it's good that they're talking about it, but I feel like it's becoming so cliche to talk. I feel like every season they talk about therapy. They either have the session where they bring a therapist in and they have everyone open up about their deepest, darkest memories and everything. But so I still enjoy that they talked about therapy because it is important. And okay, Rachel mentioned one thing where she said, I like my favorite time of the week was going to therapy. That shocked me because my worst time of my week was going to therapy because I hate feeling uncomfortable. When you're in therapy, your therapist pushes you to basically bring up your dark past, your childhood trauma, and everything else. And that I didn't like. I hated the feeling of being uncomfortable. So for the fact that she said, "Oh, that's my favorite time of the week," I was like, "Really? That's not good for you if that is your favorite time of the week, but it's not mine."
Yeah. No, that's real. I mean, I think everyone has different experiences
Yeah,
with therapy. You know what I mean? Like for me, I'm just like, I love that I have a space where I don't get judged or like
that is
I can
true.
just speak freely and like you just are listening to me. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
is
everyone,
true.
yeah.
That is true.
For-
But I like that he brought up the problems that he dealt with in the past because I know in Clayton's season, Clayton also dealt with a lot of body image issues, like before going into football and everything. And I think, what was his name? The guy that became gay. What was his name?
Colton.
Colton. I was like, it's tweaking on me a little bit. But Colton also had a lot of body image issues in the locker room talk and all that. So I feel like I'm glad they're normalizing Bachelor, Bachelorette because, but we all know that Bachelor and Bachelorette will never bring on someone that was a BMI over 25 or something.
Certainly not.
Even a slightly like, even then, you have to be stick thin. Like they have an image that they uphold. And if you don't fit that image, you're not going to get selected to even be a contestant on the show, let alone like the lead. So yeah, I'm glad that they start normalizing the body image issues, but I feel like you're being two-faced in that sense. If you're talking about the issue, but you're not actually gonna bring people on that represent that image. So
that's so true. Yeah, they're not really walking the talk.
yeah,
They're just like, oh yeah, we care about body image.
yeah,
But we're not going to show it. And they're also
yeah,
not going to show someone who like might be a little bit heavier and doesn't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? Who might
yeah,
just be like comfortable in their own skin and just like, I don't feel like I need to lose weight. I'm healthy. That's the end of story. They're not going to celebrate that type of story or just
yeah,
like bring on that type of contestant or lead. So
yeah.
that's a very good point. Yeah. I feel like I definitely agree with what you said about like they always have those like trauma circles or whatever, and most time they don't have a therapist facilitating those. It's just like,
Oh yeah, it's like a pass lead.
yeah, or like Nick
Yeah,
Vial, and it's like, okay.
yeah.
So I'm glad I feel like they tend to do that more. I could be wrong, but I feel like they tend to do that more on The Bachelor with like women contestants.
I think I do remember a past lead where they did have someone like a real therapist that came on. I forgot.
I was on
It might have been
Clayton
Clayton.
season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but that was
remember.
more of
And
like
then
an individual couples therapy. That wasn't like which I'm like, I still is not my favorite thing in the world to just like force people to divulge stuff. But I think it's slightly better than the trauma circles because at least it's just like you, the therapist, and the lead, and not like 15 other people who you're not friends with.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like the idea of forcing someone to talk about their deepest, darkest secrets when they're not ready. And then when you don't share it, you're seen as like, oh, that person is not willing to open up yet.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to open up about my trauma and my PTSD and all that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you do open up, it's kind of like, okay, like what if the lead still is not interested in you and I just spent all this time making myself uncomfortable to open up to you and you don't really care about my trauma?
Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So glad
it's aired for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Which is not, I don't know, it's not comfortable for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so glad that was not what we saw this season.
Yeah.
What did you think about Zach telling Rachel that he was the first? He didn't tell her he was the first to fall in love with her, but what did you think about him saying that?
It's so classic.
Yeah.
Right before hometowns. And then the other one is the overnights. It's always that, like the right before hometowns, during hometowns, or like right after you meet the parents and you go outside and you have your little talk, oh, I'm falling in love with you, or I'm in love with you, or like during overnights, during the next morning. So I feel like it's so cliche, but at the end of the day, it's the Bachelor and the Bachelorette. They like the whole love story scenarios. So I don't mind it at the end of the day, but, and she seemed to be very open to that also. And we see next week, like on the preview, that she says it to some, I think it was Rachel that said it to someone, that she was falling for them.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cliche, but this whole show, like you said, is cliche. So I wasn't surprised. I also wasn't surprised that he was the first person to say it, because he had a very early one-on-one.
Yes.
It's like those people usually like get there a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Rachel's definitely feeling him, so
yeah.
They seem like a very basic couple to me. Like, I don't really I don't have any problems with them. Like, there's nothing about Zach that makes me like give them pause, or is like, oh, I don't like them together, but I'm not super excited. I'm just like, okay, yeah. there they are.
Yep. That's how I feel too.
Yeah. Okay, so then we go to Gabby's group date. And it is all about sex. And they are exploring how adventurous the guys are sexually. They're doing like, they have the whips, they have like the person is asking them questions, they're doing different like sensation activities. What were your thoughts on this date?
I have a lot of thoughts. So I feel like before they did the date, they should have gave, like ABC should have gave a warning. You know how they talk about like self-harm or all that? They usually give a warning about that.
Yeah.
Because some people have gone through like, say, sexual abuse or something, like viewers. And I feel like the whole masochist sadism, like the BDSM, it can be a trigger for some people. So I feel like ABC should have given a warning. I mean, I enjoyed the date overall. I thought it was a little awkward to have, I don't know, like when they were all blindfolded and sitting in that I don't know what that thing is called that they were sitting on. That was really awkward, and they're all blindfolded, and then she put like nipple, I don't know, the clamps on the nipples. So I feel like before a hometown, I get, okay, they have the cocktail party, which we'll talk about later, I guess, but they didn't have the hot cocktail party. But I feel like the date is usually supposed to be more, okay, we're gonna get to know each other more before hometowns, like have more time to know who I'm bringing over to hometowns. But I feel like this date was more just, you didn't get that opportunity. So I don't know how I felt about having this date so late in the game.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. The beginning of what you said about like a trigger warning, essentially. I think that's a really good point. Because this was very like far for the Bachelor, Bachelorette, ABC in general. I feel like we've seen this type of kind of like sensual, like I remember Matt and Serena did like a yoga breathing, climbing on top of each other type thing.
Awkward.
But I feel like that's the furthest I've seen them go. Like I've never seen them explicitly be like, we have whips and nipple clamps and we're doing all this extra stuff. So it was a lot to handle. But I feel like this is another thing that I feel like they usually do, like just for guys. Like I feel like if they did this on The Bachelor, where it was like an all women cast of contestants, like that would not fly. They'd be like, oh, the lead is just sexualizing them and like just wants to like see how they are in bed and da da da. And it's like, while sexual compatibility is important in a relationship, I feel like The Bachelor, Bachelorette just gets away so much more with like overly sexualizing men and like always making men like take off their shirts, like wear a Speedo, like. And the next group date was like Rachel's guys. Not to skip ahead too much, but like she pulled up to the little cheese square and she was like, oh, take off your shirt. So,
I was gonna mention that.
I was like, is this part of the activity? Are we going swimming? Like, and then they started lifting weights, and I was like, so that was not part of the activity. We just had to have our shirts off for this thing. So I feel like this show just like constantly over sexualizes men.
I agree. I think if it was the roles were reversed, oh my God, if the roles were reversed, then the viewers would boycott the show. Like Bachelor Nation would boycott the show because I agree. It's like maybe these women aren't comfortable with stripping down in, and having their bodies exposed and then being whipped and clamped on the neck and all that, that, and we don't even know if these guys are comfortable with that. Like, granted, I don't know what happened off camera, if anyone said, hey, I'm not comfortable with this, but I feel like if they didn't participate in the date, it would be a red flag for production, for viewers, for Gabby. And I don't think that's cool because women get abused sexually, but men also get abused, and that's not talked about enough. So I just think, I don't know, that whole day kind of was, I mean, overall, I loved it. I love Gabby, but I feel like that whole date was just awkward.
Yeah.
So.
And it's one of those things like what we were talking about with the trauma circles, where it's like you were saying, if someone didn't participate, it would be like, oh, they don't want to open up. They're not sexually experienced. But then if they are uncomfortable with it, but they like push themselves to do it anyway, and then they still like maybe don't get that validation from Gabby, it's like, okay, well, I just pushed myself to do something way outside of my comfort zone, and like I've got nothing to show for it. You know what I mean?
I agree, but I still love Gabby.
Yeah. So don't really have much to talk about with her after party. Gets canceled. Jesse pulls up, says that Logan has COVID. That's the end.
Okay, but he didn't say to the guys.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Yeah, he was just like, there's been a situation. And I was like...
Which, I'm confused how he got COVID if they're on a ship or whatever you want to call it, where there's no one else on board besides the guys and the two leads and then Jesse.
I feel like he could have got it from one of the producers. Like, I feel like he might have been getting close to a producer or something.
Okay, there were some talks on Twitter about people saying how it wasn't COVID. So I don't know. There were a lot of theories going on about him like having something with the hairstylist, but then they took that down, and then people just don't believe it was COVID. So I'm interested to, I mean,
when you say they took that down, you mean ABC? Or
no. So like when they said that he had something with a hairstylist, like he had a thing with a hairstylist, whoever made that comment reverted that comment. So, I don't know. I forgot who like made that comment, but it was on. I was on Twitter like right after the live show, and I was like, I feel like, I don't know. Is COVID a valid reason? I don't know. Yeah. And then to cancel the whole cocktail party, like why not just still have the cocktail party? Just not here.
Yeah. Because it also seems sus. I saw someone else on Twitter bring up the fact that like, okay, if this really was COVID, these are his close contacts. These are his roommates. Like he's been living with these guys. So
how did they not get COVID?
Yeah.
How did he get COVID and other guys be cleared of it?
Yeah, but like they should know if he did get COVID, so they could also get tested. Like that's all they need to know because he's been living with all of them.
So I don't think he got COVID. I feel like, and then also in the preview from last week for this week, didn't Jesse say you have to pack your bags? But then do you remember that? During the preview of last episode for this week's like episode, the preview, Jesse was like, you need to pack your bags, but then it like shot to Logan. But we don't know, you know how like ABC, they switch around the scenes and all that, so we don't know who he was talking to. So they either just cut out that entire, I don't know what happened, but I just don't believe the whole COVID story. And then to tell the guys, hey, a situation happened, but he told Gabby, oh, he had COVID. Yeah. That doesn't, but the guys don't, I guess they knew, or now they know that it's COVID, but during that scene, they didn't know that it's COVID.
That's so upsetting because I want some drama.
Yeah, I thought I was ready for the tea. And then when he told Gabby, when Jesse went to Gabby's room and told Gabby it was COVID, I was like,
I know, same. I was like, that's it. That's the whole, it's done.
Okay.
And then for him to cancel the whole thing, I was like, Are we sure?
And then someone on Twitter, it was hilarious. Someone on Twitter was like, we've been in a pandemic for 2 years, 3 years. Y'all can't use Zoom to do a cocktail
I
party.
saw that.
I was laughing. I was like, that's true. I mean, like everything
Yeah.
was on Zoom, so why couldn't y'all do a whole Zoom cocktail party?
For real.
Maybe there wasn't Wi-Fi on board. I don't know what the reason was.
I don't buy that.
Yeah.
Okay, so no after party. Then we go to Rachel's group date. They're in the cheese capital of the world. And they pretty much just have a weightlifting competition with like each round gets like more weights of cheese added to the platform.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts of the day portion of this date?
So I actually liked it. I thought it was a little more casual than what Gabby had. I still thought like, okay, after the competition, you still probably got to talk to the guys and all that. And it wasn't too like crazy like Gabby's date. So I actually like this date better. But again, it's still like she had the guys stripped down. I mean, took their shirt off. And it was a prove yourself to be the best or the strongest, which is still like over sexualizing men at the end of it. So, but overall, I liked her date. It is what it is. I don't have many thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I literally wrote down in my notes, I said pretty standard, typical, like just another competition. There
was one thing though, when Ethan and Tino went head to head, and then I guess Ethan died at the end, and he was like laying on the ground, and then she kind of ignored him and like straight went to Tino and like made out with him while Ethan here, my buddy Ethan, was dying on the ground, and she then went over to him. I'm like, this man is really just about to die from.
He said, "I only have eyes for Tino. That is my future man's." Yeah,
she left him in the dust.
Yeah. We all knew, sadly, that Ethan was on his way out this episode.
I think he knew that too.
Yeah.
He didn't get that one-on-one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they gave him some screen time and like some one-liners. Like maybe we'll see him on Paradise because he seems like a funny guy. Like he seems like
he's the Bachelor. I'm just tired of I really thought Ethan was going to make it to hometowns because, you know, hometowns are like a lock-in for Bachelor.
Yeah.
Usually it's like top 4. I think the only time they went off of that was Hannah Brown because I think she was top 6 or something.
No. Hannah Brown went to hometowns.
No, she didn't. Not on Colton season. She
did. Wait, yeah. Yeah. It was
we need to research this because I swear she didn't.
Okay, look it up.
I was just ready for a first Asian American Bachelor. Like we just had no representation like for Latinos or Asians, and I'm just tired of it. Like I'm glad they have Black men representation with Matt, and then I think that's it for Bachelors. But like, and then they had Juan Pablo, but I don't know, he was very
trash.
So I wouldn't, like they need a new Latino Bachelor and then their first Asian American Bachelor because I feel like we all thought he was going to make it. I don't know. I thought he was going to make it to Final 4. And then I was like, okay, yes, fingers crossed, you have a running for being the Bachelor. And he's funny, like, and he is very intimate and he is very emotional and all that. Like, he has all the good qualities, but then we know he's not going to get picked for Bachelor. We just know. So,
I mean, I hear you. I agree. I would love to see an Asian Bachelor. We do not know anything about him. So
because he hasn't gotten screen time.
No, I agree. Like there's a reason why we don't know anything about him. But like I personally am never a fan of having bachelors we don't know anything about, i.e. Juan Pablo, i.e. Clayton. So and I personally did not think he was gonna go to Final 4. I did not get that vibe. You might have seen something I didn't. But overall, I do hear you. And I would love to have an Asian American Bachelor. Like, we definitely need more representation on the show.
Honestly, if they had more contestants that came on, because if you only have 1 out of 30 or 1 out of however many or 2 out of however many, like.
And contestants will stay. That's the thing, too. Like, we'll have a lot of people, not a lot, but we'll have, like, some sprinkles in here night 1, and then they're all gone by, like, week 2, week 3.
You don't know their names. You don't remember their names. I think this is the first Asian person that has made it this far in Bachelor or that I remember. I think there was one on Ben Higgins' season. She made it to top 3.
No. Catherine.
Oh yeah, okay, Catherine, but she wasn't like lead. Well, whatever.
We have made it this far.
Yeah. No, I agree. So Catherine, that's still my favorite Bachelorette couple. But besides Catherine, there hasn't been since, I don't even know when that aired, to be honest. It was so long ago. Sean season.
That was like high school. We were in high
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like early 2000 teens kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time they were on. So it's just, besides Catherine, I think he was the one that's made it this far since her, and then Ben Higgins season, there was one.
Yeah. And I mean, I count Ivan. I don't know.
Okay, because he's half.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with that too. Yeah.
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 But yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't have much hope for this franchise, but keep tuning in.
You know, I feel like it has to be something, you know, because they got Matt on when it was something that happened, either a shooting or
it was the Black Lives Matter resurrection in 2020.
Yeah, that they brought him on.
Yeah.
So I feel like it has to
be Claire's season, but they pulled him from the
I remember.
Yeah, another Bachelor we knew nothing about who turned out to be a
he's never that's a whole different story too, because he's never been on a episode.
Yeah.
He's Tyler, his name's Tyler? Someone's friend.
About Tyler C.
Tyler C. I heard he's messy, but anyway. But yeah, he's someone's friend, which I don't know. I feel like it has to be some major issue like that. Something major has to happen in my community for that to happen.
Which is sad.
Yeah, which is like, I hate that you have to draw attention in a negative way to bring out a positive outcome.
Yeah.
But that's a story for another day.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we go to the after party. Rachel, you know, she's checking in with the guys about hometowns and the possibility of that. Did any conversations or moments stand out to you from this evening after party?
Honestly, the only one was Tino being like at the very end when someone else got the rose and Tino, like, that was a red flag for me. Like how he was just like, I did all this for her, da da da. I have everything. I have the emotions, da da da. She just went on a whole rant to a producer, I think he was talking to, and then someone was like, Tino has to stop being a baby bag bitch.
That was Ethan. That was Ethan.
Yeah. I remember on Twitter, and because when they had the camera panned on them, I think I couldn't see whose mouth was moving. Yeah. So I didn't know who said it until I went on Twitter, and then I saw.
Yeah.
But I agree. I thought that was the right. Like, I get he's invested, but they all are. They've been there the same amount of time. They all invested similar amount of times. Like they all have emotional stake in Rachel, but he just went on a whole rant about how he's superior and how he didn't get the rose. And I don't know. That's a red flag to me.
Yeah,
in my eyes.
I mean, in my eyes too. Yeah. Because I felt like the way he was talking about it, it made it seem like he thought this was like an equation. Like he could plug in this phrase and she would equal a rose.
Yeah.
I mean, like he seemed like there was a formula, which there's no formula to love. There's no formula to like being compatible with someone. It just seemed like he was like, I said this, so I should win that. And it's like, that's not how this works. You don't get something just because you feel like you should get it. Like, that's not how this
works. When he did say that I said all the right things. So it almost seemed like he's playing a game and he has this formulated, like, I don't know. I'm scared if she does end up with him because it just shows that you're calculated. Yeah. And so if you're that calculated and you want to say the right things, are you there for the right, I hate this phrase, for the right reasons? But like, are you there for the right reasons if you're trying to say the right things in order to get that rose? You know?
Because what's going to happen, like, if she does pick him and there's no more, like, he's not competing against anyone else. Yeah. There's nothing else to win per se. Yeah. Like, is he only motivated by being better than the other guys, by getting every rose? Yeah. It's also alarming to me because I don't know if he fully understands how the show works. Like, he was having a whole meltdown about not getting the date rose, but I was like, we still have a whole rose ceremony. Like, you're not eliminated. He was just like acting like this was the end of the world. And like, if he didn't get this rose, he wasn't advancing. And I was like, just calm down. Yeah.
And also, like, for him to say that he knows he's getting filmed, you have, like, okay, I get maybe, I don't know, because we've seen in past seasons where either a contestant on Bachelor or Bachelorette had gone off on the lead or whoever to producers, and it was aired on TV. Like we saw that last season with Cassidy, like, and her going on a whole rant about how she's better. Or was it? I don't even know. It was either Cassidy or Shanae, where they went on a whole rant about I'm better than these girls, blah blah blah, and that was just that didn't look good for them. So you have to know you're mic'd up 24/7.
Yeah,
so you felt comfortable saying that on camera. I'm scared about what you would do off camera.
That's so true. Yeah. But I mean, I could see him really going. I could see him winning. Honestly. Me too. I mean, Rachel has had her eyes on this man since day.
I was a fan of him. Like even on the past one-on-one that he had with her, it was very like they were compatible and they looked good together. So I was like, I was a fan of him up until now, where I'm just like, this is a whole red flag. Where I could see this man. I don't know. I don't want to put things out into the universe when she might pick him. We don't know that yet. So. We'll just have to see.
But I mean, he could have been saying the right things on the one-on-one too. You know what I mean? Like that could have just been all part of his formula.
Yeah, his game plan.
Yeah. Another conversation that stuck out to me at this after party was what I mentioned earlier with Tyler. Not because they didn't say anything. I mean, he told her he was falling in love with her. So that's fine. But just the fact that he ends up getting the after party rose, like the group date rose, which solidifies him for hometowns, and he's never had a one-on-one. To me personally, as either the lead or the contestant, I would feel uncomfortable. As the lead, I would be like, I do not feel comfortable meeting your family. I don't know anything about you. Like I can't speak to our relationship because what is our foundation? And as a contestant, I would also not want to bring the lead home because it's like, who am I bringing home? I don't know. Like I know the Bachelor, Bachelorette moves really quickly, but like this is a lot even for them.
Yeah.
To have one-on-one. Their first one-on-one is going to be in his hometown. Like that's wild.
Yeah. No, I agree. But honestly, she had Ethan or Tyler.
She could have done like Gabby and just you don't have to do 4. I would actually love it if she did it because that's less hometowns for me to watch.
I agree. I think someone calculated like how much time you have with the lead if you had a one-on-one versus if you did it or something like that, like the total amount of time you spend with them. And it's when you don't have a one-on-one, because I think a one-on-one is just the entire day. It's not even the entire day. It's not 24 hours. Pretty sure it's like 16, 15 hours or something. But I agree. I think if you've never had a one-on-one and your only conversations have been on group dates or like during cocktail parties before a rose ceremony, I don't think that's enough time.
Definitely not.
To know someone. I don't know. White people do it differently in the sense of introducing. I don't want to say it. I don't want to sound like I'm discriminating, but personally for me, I would never introduce someone to my parents that I've had maybe 6 conversations with, and I don't know much about you, because that's like inviting someone into your own home that is a safe space for your family.
Yeah.
White people do it differently.
And I think Tyler said, I know someone said, I think it was Tyler, he was like, my parents told me to not bring someone home unless it was the last person. And I remember watching that and being like, this is really awkward because Tino or Zach is going to win this. Like, you're not going to win this. So that's really awkward because you're already going to annoy them.
Yeah.
This is not the last person you're going to bring home.
I'm trying to see how his parents are going to react.
Yeah, like I just want to see what he's going to say, because all the families will sit down and be like, so tell us about your time together. Tell us about your journey. What have you guys been up to? What are they going to say? Oh yeah, we went on a date with 10 other guys every week.
And talked at cocktail parties.
Yeah, like as the parents, what am I supposed to do with that information? Like I do not feel comfortable.
This is the only time that I've seen someone get a hometown without a prior one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I can't. I've watched since, I don't know whose season.
I've watched since Ashley and JP.
Yes, Ashley and JP.
We started the same season?
Yes.
Wow.
Ashley and JP. I watched little spurts of like other seasons. I like watched spurts of Trista and Ryan. That was like the first Bachelorette ever. And they're still together. But Yeah, since then I have not seen, and I watched every season since then. So I don't remember someone getting hometown without
Yeah, this is
a
abnormal.
one-on-one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna have. I want to see their breakup because I'm gonna feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we go to the rose ceremony. No major surprises. As we discussed, Ethan goes home from Rachel's side. Spencer goes home from Gabby's side.
Wow.
So no major upsets. Any final thoughts on anything that we talked about, or like anything that we didn't get to?
I was sad for both Spencer and Ethan, but you know, I'm still rooting for Ethan to be first Asian bachelor out here. I mean, if he ends up in Paradise, I'll be happy for that because I love Paradise. But you know, it's always a toss up with Paradise. You either go from the good guy to the bad guy, which I really hope doesn't happen, or the bad to the good guy. And you know, we saw with Ivan having his whole little controversy, and then you know, some other people that went from kind of Blake from I forgot whose season.
Yeah.
Was that
Becca's season?
I don't remember. Whose season was he on?
Becca's.
Becca, yeah.
Yeah. No, and Ethan's in a good light right now. Like, yeah, you know, he's well received. So
yeah, he's really liked by Bachelor Nation. There is a campaign for him to be like the Bachelor. I don't think that's going to happen because that's not the image that Bachelor wants. So, I mean, we'll have to see. But I'm rooting for him. And if he does end up in Paradise, hopefully he finds a nice woman to bring home.
Hopefully, or at least he doesn't ruin his reputation, like you said.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And Tiffany, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.